Hey everybody, it's Doc. Welcome back to the channel. I am on a boat. I am on the Norwegian Aqua, and that is Norwegian Cruise Line's newest ship. Now, the Norwegian Aqua was finished just a few weeks ago in Italy, moved from Italy, I believe, to Portugal, and then from Portugal to Southampton, and we are on its initial... I believe this is the initial cruise. Now, I understand that when they sailed from Venice to Portugal, and from Portugal to Southampton, they did have a smaller cruise with mainly media, as far as I understand. I think this is the first cruise, though, that had actual, like, regular vacationers who are just looking to have a good time on the boat. And I set up this cruise about over a year ago while talking to one of the cruise line people on the phone, and we couldn't be happier. And I wanted to take this time to go over some of the pros and cons of this trip, as well as the boat itself, the service, and things that I found different, better, worse, indifferent. Because my wife and I had started doing the Haven for cruising, and we've done this now. I believe this is our 4th Haven cruise. We've been on over 10 Norwegian cruises, but this is the 4th Haven cruise. So let's talk a little bit about the Voyage. So this is my first transatlantic voyage, and it was a really interesting trip. I, for one, have never had any negative weather on a cruise, believe it or not. You know, knock on wood, ever since my 10 or 11 cruises that I've taken in the past. But we got a letter and an email and a text message, and then there was an actual piece of paper that they handed out to everybody when you got to the cruise port, that, hey, guess what? The cruise is actually going to be 3 days longer because there is bad weather in the North Atlantic. And this cruise was supposed to go from Southampton to Boston, but needed to be rerouted from Southampton to New York. Now, I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, I understand that, you know, obviously you don't want to sail into bad weather, but they actually even changed the destination port, which messed up a lot of people. So people were allowed to either take a full refund of their cruise and say, hey, I'm out, not going. Or I believe they were given a like $300 credit to try to make adjustments to maybe fly or drive from New York back to Boston, maybe if they had their car there, which is like one of the problems we had. We drove from Pennsylvania all the way up to Boston, and our car's in Boston. And they told us basically an hour before getting on the boat, hey, it's a 3-day longer cruise. So it actually was supposed to dock on a Friday, and now it's going to dock on a Monday morning. And on top of that, you're going to have to figure out a way to get back to Boston or make other travel arrangements. And this is a tough one because it's for people, some of the people from England. And they had a flight from Boston going back to England. So there was a large scrambling to reschedule a lot of the people. So some people weren't in the best of mood about that. But, I mean, you know, this is an act of God, and I would much rather be safer than roughing even harsher seas just to try to make it back to Boston and do the original itinerary. And for one, I'm kind of glad. I mean, the last couple of days that we've had on this cruise, with the exception of today, because today is the final day, so that we will be back in New York at 2 a.m. in the morning tomorrow, which is Monday. But the best weather was the extra days. So we, you know, sustained a lot of winds, some choppy weather, some cold weather, but I mean, obviously we're not sailing in the summer, so nobody expected to really be have beach weather on the boat. But the last couple of days, I mean, you could get a sunburn out there when the wind died down and it was nice and sunny. Some people were in the pool. A lot of us hung out in the hot tubs, but it was a great experience overall. So let's talk about some of the things that are pros and cons of this new boat. Now, this is a Prima-class class ship. This is a newer, little bit more modified version of the Prima-class. It's called Prima-class, and it's still built on the general architecture of the regular Prima-class ships. So not a tremendous amount of difference here, but I've never been on any of the Prima-class ships, and this is a smaller boat, and it's a little bit more cozy, which I like. I used to go on the Gem and all the Norwegian Sky and all the older boats, and they were smaller boats. You know, the behemoth ones, like, you know, the breakaway, you know, class of ships, they're just like massive. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a small boat, but it is smaller. So some people may like the coziness, some people may not like the coziness. So, take into account that the boat is a little bit smaller, but there's actually less of a capacity on the boat too, so it kind of scales. But one of the big pros I really like about this ship and the Prima class in general, because I've seen their layouts and they've done this on the other boats, and that would be the Aqua, the Prima, and I forget the other one, but then the Luna is another one that will be coming out shortly, I believe in another year or so, which will be the fourth ship of the Prima class. But if you've ever been on the bigger ships like the Breakaway or the Epic or the Getaway or any of those ships, you find out that a lot of people seem to, they all kind of congregate in one particular area. At night, there's a couple of bars that get really busy, as well as the restaurants. But in the daytime, when you want to be outside and enjoying the sun or doing some fun stuff, most people are around the pool deck. And if you've ever been dealing with the lines of trying to get a drink or something like that, it can be pretty annoying. And also trying to make sure you get a chair, that can be pretty annoying as well. So one of the things I think that they did here architecturally was that they actually spread stuff out. So the whole ocean front area of the boat, which is an area on deck 8, which is a walkway that goes around the whole boat. And there's an ocean front or ocean view, I believe, on the Breakaway class where they have restaurants outside. There's a little bar outside. But they've taken that and they've enlarged it. And there's a lot of different nooks and areas to sleep, lay down. They have chairs. They have lounge chairs. They have pools. They have 2 infinity pools on the side of each side of the boat. Not to mention the whole upper deck where the main pool is and the outdoor bar is that you would expect on most cruise ships. So basically deck 8 as well as the main pool deck are both very viable options to hang out and catch some sun, and it kind of separates people out a bit, which I like. That was like one of my favorite things about the boat. The one negative about the construction and architecture and design of the boat is that it was hard for me to really get my bearings in this boat. And usually like on the Breakaway class ships, like I've kind of figured out, okay, go here, go there. There's a lot of straight lines in those boats. In this, like just even getting across the atrium, I mean, you have to like walk around weird directions, and there's a lot of partial balconies and partial walkways over to other areas, and the other side is an open area going down, and I'll post some pictures so maybe you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, but there's not a lot of direct walkways. Sometimes you think you're at the end of the boat, and then you go around the corner, and hey, there's another bar even further back. And so sometimes it's not very obvious where you should be going, and the areas are a little bit more windy than the typical other Breakaway class ships that are nice kind of straight lines where you just walk down and you hit everything that you need to hit. So that is one thing that I felt was a little bit of a negative to the boat. Let's talk about the rooms. Now, I'm in a Haven suite here because we're doing the Haven, and I think the rooms are fantastic. I mean, the whole look of the ship, as well as rooms, very modern, updated. I love our room, and I'll talk a little bit more about that with the Haven specifics because I can't talk to the other staterooms. I've seen a couple of other videos online that actually have views of the other staterooms, and they look gorgeous too. So I don't think it's just like only the Haven rooms are nice. But one of the interesting things that I found out, and this is stuff like you probably don't know until you run into a problem, is that we were getting some rocky weather coming across the Atlantic Ocean, and the wind would kick up and it would rock the boat. But what would happen is your closet door would like open and then close, and then open again and then close. And our closet has a light go on automatically so that when you open the closet, the light goes on. So you sleep in the middle of the night and the closet door slides open, light goes on. Then it closes and shuts, light goes off. And that can be happening all night long. So if you have any bad or choppy weather, hopefully they'll get a fix to that. So that's another thing that you may want to be aware of with the new boat. Not to say that it couldn't happen on other boats. So let's talk a little bit about the food. The food is really good and other times not so good. And I don't know if that's just, hey, this is our first cruise, everybody's getting their bearings or what, but Norwegian put a couple of new restaurants. Like, I don't see was it La Cucina, I believe, was the Italian restaurant on the old boats. Now it's Onda, which is much, much better. I mean, that was our best experience of dining on the boat so far. Fantastic pastas. If you like veal, it was hammered down real. It was, real thin, very tasty. We had a bottle of wine with dinner. It was great. But then we went to the Thai restaurant, the Sukhothai restaurant, and it was really not worth using one of our dining credits on that restaurant. It just had very little taste. It looked like a cafeteria inside. There was nothing really special about the food. Nice view, but other than that, we walked away and we said, hey, we wish we didn't even go here and went somewhere else instead. The main free dining seemed fine. It wasn't the greatest food in the world. Some of it was like a little low on flavor to me, but we like a lot of salt, a lot of pepper, a lot of spice on our food. But I noticed that the Caesar dressing wasn't really coated very well with dressing. It was almost like eating lettuce, and the look of the dining was fantastic. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was so much better than the other free dining options on the breakaway class ships. It was just so elegant looking. And again, maybe they're just getting their bearings. It's a brand new boat, first major cruise. And we only ate there the one time. But the food was just okay. And I seem to remember it being a little bit better than okay at the breakaway and breakaway plus class ships and the Epic. So take that for what it's worth. The other thing was we also went to, we didn't do Le Bistro, and that is a restaurant that is often seen on most Norwegian cruise ships, but I heard that they knocked it out of the park as well, as far as, people have been posting online, like it was their best meal yet. Fantastic. And I've always had a good meal at Le Bistro, but this time we decided to try the Thai restaurant. We decided to try the Italian restaurant. And then we did Los Lobos, which is their Mexican. And that wasn't bad either. That was good. They had tableside guacamole done there. We had fajitas. It was tasty. Really, really pretty inside. We enjoyed it. And these restaurants also have an outdoor area, but it was just a little bit too cold to do this time. But we can't wait to go eat outside at these places when it gets a little warmer and we go on our next cruise at the end of the summer. So the food, mostly pretty good. Now, if you go to the Haven, and if you ever had the Haven food at the Haven restaurant, it was fantastic. I mean, their steak was good. They had a great cheesecake dessert. A surf and turf was great. There was this raviolo, which is like this large ravioli and cream sauce. They had so many different options, and they were delicious. And if you can go there for breakfast or lunch, you can get a French dip or a burger, or you can get waffles. They did not disappoint, and they really take their time with you. And it's one of the things that if you can go to the Haven and if you can afford it, you can swing it. It's hard to go back. It's hard to go back. The rooms are great. The service is great. You have a butler. You have people just bringing you whatever you want, whenever you want it, which is great. You can ask for red M&Ms if you want, and they'll just bring it to you. But, we don't usually do that. But that was fantastic. So what are some of the negatives about the Haven? I don't want to sound too pretentious by saying this, but this Haven didn't seem so desiring to help and to make your vacation great as much as the other times we were in the Haven. There were times where we'd ask if we could have something like, this with dinner instead of this, and they're like, no, we can't do that. So there were times where in the past, if you went to the Haven, you would actually get with a group of people. They would lead you down to events a little bit early so you can get preferred seating at these events. And they don't lead you anymore. They're like, yeah, just go there 45 minutes early. Somebody will let you in. And some of the venues, they don't do it at all, where that's the first as well that we didn't. Sid Norman's, for example, if you've been to Sid Norman's is a bar, and it's like a rock kind of bar where the staff they're actually musicians, and they look like they're dressed as waiters, but they also play music and sing, and it's great. Tough to get into. Even on this boat, there were people in the hall trying to watch, but you weren't able to get in early with the Haven perks that you normally get. Only to the amphitheater stage thing in the back of the boat, you were able to get in early on those. But those shows, by the way, they were fantastic. They were fantastic. We saw the Prince show, which was great. We saw the Sid Norman's Rumor show, which wasn't in the Sid Norman's bar, but was at the auditorium in the back. Their guitarist, like, note for note, every solo, like, hit it perfectly. Like, the same tone, the same... It sounded like I was listening to the record. It was so on, and that was great. And then we saw Elements, which is a magic and dancing and acrobatics kind of Cirque du Soleil kind of thing. And that was quite impressive as well. So entertainment on the boat is great. They have the first roller coaster water slide at sea, which is awesome and fun. And if you're in, I won't tell you, but when the two cars, one of them gets more wet than the other. So when it's cold out, that can be a little bit rough, but they were running it and it was fun. And they were actually doing the drop slide. They have a drop slide as well, but they were doing it with, you were kind of wrapped up in this like sliding bag that they just threw you down the thing in, because they weren't doing it with water like they usually do. But that was fun too. There's a pickleball court on board. The spa's beautiful. I mean, the spa has massage pools, saltwater pool. It had 2 types of steam room, one with aromatherapy, one without. It had a clay and charcoal sauna. It also had an ice room. Everything was working. And then they had what was called the thermal, I think it was called the thermal suite. There's a thermal room which has all the pools in it, but then there was this thermal relaxation area where everybody's quiet. There's beds, a beautiful view right off the front of the ship, all heated places to lay down, slight fare like oranges and water and flavored water like they normally have. It's just calm, and it was just, we fell asleep there. I mean, it was so nice, so beautiful. So the service, the guys did a great job on service. Our steward and our butler was fantastic. One of the big shout outs was to Alex and Vange in the whiskey bar. And I'll tell you what, I have never been on a Norwegian Cruise Line that was serving Buffalo Trace booze and liquor. I've not seen it, unless this must be a thing that's newer. I couldn't get Blanton's on the boat on the Breakaway. I couldn't get Buffalo Trace. Woodford Reserve used to be an upcharge. Now they've increased the quality of the liquor on board, so now you can get Buffalo Trace on the regular drink package, and you can get Woodford Reserve, and it's not an upcharge. You can get Johnny Walker Black. There's no upcharge. But if you want Talisker, which is a wonderful smoky scotch, that is an upcharge. But you can get Blanton's. You can even get Pappy, but they didn't have Pappy on the boat yet because they have to get it in the U.S., and they're not going to get it on the board until we dock. So, unfortunately, no Pappy for me. But there was a couple of other things that they were supposed to have. They didn't have Wellers. They're also picking up Wellers. That's another Buffalo Trace brand of bourbon if you're into it. And that's coming when they get on, when they dock in the U.S. as well. So it's hard. They were substituting an even more expensive, I think it was called Rockford Farms, and a more expensive bourbon in its place, which was equally delicious. They had Frank Sinatra Jack Daniels. Never saw that on a cruise ship before. So your choices of liquor was absolutely phenomenal. So if you like to drink, there's some good stuff on board. I think you'll be happy. They have a swirl wine bar. They have a sommelier there. They have a lot of different options of wines that you can pick from. Some that are on your drink plan, some of them that cost a little bit more. Excellent variety there as well. So I would suggest that, hang out down by the whiskey bar and the wine bar if you like that, because they're right next to each other. And it was quite good. The other restaurant to quickly talk about was, they used to have teppanyaki, but it's another name now. I'm blanking out of the name. It's sorry, but I forget. But they have another Japanese hibachi restaurant there, and it was actually better. I thought it was better. They had some of the same stuff. They had the same kind of desserts. They have a fruit platter. I believe they had a like green tea cake or something. Like they've had that before on the other boats with teppanyaki, but the food seemed to be more flavorful, and they give you so much of it you need like a crane to actually lift you out of the chair and cart you somewhere else. But they still have the glow party on board, which is always fun and energetic. And the casino, well, the casino's a casino, and the casino took some money from me, but the second time I went, I made all my money back, so I'm happy with that. But I think overall, if you are interested in going on one of the most beautiful cruise ships with a tremendous amount of dining options, a high variety of good liquor, and super modern design and friendly staff. I mean, it was so good that we booked another cruise on this boat in a couple of months just because we like the boat so much. The pools are great. The Haven is great. If you like the Haven, if you remember going on the Havens and the Breakaway class and the Epic class, your hot tub and pool sometimes didn't even have a view of the water because it was like in a kind of like this alcove or this valley in the middle of, I don't know how to describe it. There's rooms all around it, so it was set down a floor. So you couldn't see anything but the sky, and you can sit in a hot tub or you can go in this very, very small pool. On this boat, there's an outdoor bar at the Haven, which usually the Haven does not have. On top of that, there is great views from the hot tub and pool, being able to look out at the back of the boat over the ocean. It's like absolutely gorgeous. There's showers there. There's plenty of places to lay. The Vibe, we walked through it. Now, I've gotten free Vibe passes in the past by being in the Haven. People give you a wristband. They're like, hey, take this wristband, you can get into the Vibe. They would not do that this time. And that's fine, because they don't really have anything on the Vibe section that you can't get in the Haven now, being that you have a bar outside in the Haven, which you didn't have in the past. You only had an indoor bar. But this Haven has an outdoor bar and an indoor bar, and beautiful views of the water from a hot tub or pool. There's an infinity pool on the back of the boat. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you just cannot beat these views. And if you've never cruised before, you should really, really give it a go. Like, give it a one time. Do a small cruise. Do a 3-day. Do a 5-day. Do something to just try it. A lot of people think they're seasick. You can put a little patch on your neck. You can get some medicine before you go on the cruise in case you do get a little bit nauseated. But this boat was rocking a bit, and I was perfectly fine. But some people aren't. But most of the time, if you're going to go to Bermuda or a Caribbean cruise, tends to be fairly smooth sailing. So as long as you're not going through the hurricane season, which tends to be the middle of summer to the end of November, I believe, you just got to be careful with that. But I'm telling you, man, Norwegian, we're going to actually be Sapphire now, up from Platinum for our cruise. And, you know, it sucks that we had to have another 3 days on a boat. That's a good problem to have. But you know, luckily I didn't have work over the weekend, but I've got to get back home immediately from New York in the morning and go to work that day. So it is what it is. But hopefully you liked a couple of the pictures of the ship that we were able to show you while we were talking about the boat. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll try my best to answer them. I'm happy to be one of the first people to ever be able to cruise on a brand new Norwegian vessel. And I can't wait to do it again. So thanks for watching, guys. Please feel free to follow me on social media. I stream games on Twitch. There'll be stuff on TikTok, Facebook, obviously YouTube, X, Instagram, and the like. Not to mention, this will also be co-broadcasted on the Modern Boomer channel, which we talk about men's, usually more men-focused issues, as well as gaming, electronics, tech, travel, you name it. Lifestyle, you name it. So this goes good on that channel as well. So I'll be posting it there as well. So anytime you guys have any questions, I appreciate you liking, subscribing, and just put them down below. I'll try to answer them for you. Again, this was a great first cruise, although it had some hiccups. But hey, when life gives you lemons. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Wishlist method of entry now on Steam and get all the newest updates on our Discord. Also, follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. Method of entry. Competitive first, realism follows.